In this video, we're gonna build some awesome canal works for a Venetian style fantasy gaming board, and we're gonna find out if we can redeem ourselves on resin pours or if it's all going to go to hell. But I've realized since Jen and I came back from Japan, we haven't done a video all together. So this one's gonna be me, Murray, and Jen. I'm gonna go grab them.
Before we could start, we needed a foundation, basically attaching the polystyrene to some MDF for structure, and we've marked out roughly where we want the canals, so I'm going to attach the glue to everywhere but those places, so we can cut them out and have really nice clean edges.
Murray, this is all glued together, which is awesome, but now I need to cut some canals. So
We do.
It's foam cutting time, which means taking the board outside. Yeah. Let's go. So one of the challenges we have now that this foam is cut is we need to make a really nice brick pattern along the edges of the canals.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to do this is to experiment with a few options. We've never done this before, but you worked on a video with a similar concept?
Yeah, we did some sort of scenic bases for the Tabletop Time roleplay setup.
Ah, and that was on a Jazza video.
Yeah.
What material did you use for that?
Oh, geez. Rapid repair filler. It's basically a compound that you use on your walls where there's a hole in it.
And then you used a texture roller, right?
Yeah. Like that one. And
Okay,
that one.
we're gonna give it a crack, and then if this works, we'll do it. If not, we'll explore some other options.
Yeah, we've got some foam core we can try as well. Let's get some of this lovely stuff, drop it all over the project, and then smear it onto this. It's just like doing your toast at home, except decidedly less appetizing, I hope. So you can get a pretty straight finish. You can get an even better finish if you use water. Fetch me water, minion! Oh, looks like I can use a lot less of this.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
Okay, that's really good. Okay, Murray, proof of concept. This worked so well.
Yeah, we sort of said that we'd try a whole lot of stuff, and then we thought, this is exactly what we wanted. We've got the crispness, the nice indentation. It was super fast to do.
Fast and easy, and
Yeah.
So Murray and I slipped away from the board to build some cool details that'll help bring it together at the end of the project.
Yeah, it's all about those little bits that bring it to life. I'm gonna make some bridge templates so I can work out the distance over the canals. Then using this template, I built multiple bridges and then Mod Podged over them so we can spray them with paint later.
And as for me, I've been getting a real kick out of learning how to use polymer clay, sculpting, and making my own doodads. And today I decided all these canals needed a beautiful little fence to run along them. Very classic style. So I made individual bricks out of oven-baked clay, as well as a nice little bollard to attach to them, baked them together and created this wall that I'd cast stuff out of later. Okay, so I have to do some silicone molds. I haven't done this in a long time. I'm hoping it's gonna work. My cute little bit of brick wall has dried in the oven, and now it's time to build a little silicone mold, and we can see if we can duplicate that. If we can, they'll run along the edges of the canal, and I think it'll look really cool. So yeah, let's get down to business. Pink silicone is very expensive, so there's no need to waste it. So what we're doing now is pouring some rice in to work out the quantity that this mold is going to use, which will allow me to more accurately measure how much rice gets on the board.
Rice, baby.
Hey, come on, that was such a rip-off of a way better song. Under pressure. Okay, so that's enough to cover it healthily. Into a cup. And apparently not all of it will come out, so we'll just have some rice in our mold. So what's happened, rather interestingly, is the acrylic has absorbed so much of the heat from the hot glue that it's taking forever to cool down. So it's kept some of the hot glue inside tacky, and the rice is stuck into it. That's just gonna live there now. That's fine. It's not hurting anyone. No matter pretty much what I've done, I've used a little bit more silicone than I'm probably gonna need.
Better to have more than be like, oh, I need more.
Don't breathe that in. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine, Murray. We have the excitement of a pressure chamber. A vacuum pot. We put the lid on, and then we press the on button when that's closed, and everything works. I'm too impatient to wait. I have to know. It was bubbly. The vacuum pour didn't go too well, but let's actually see if I can get this sorted out. All right, we can see the bottom there, so that's worked out. All right, here we go. Well, it survived the mold. I think if I go in and cut those bits where it's like gone through the cracks with a knife, trim that up, it might cast all right. We will see. Okay, so Murray has made these little acrylic dividers. We don't want another resin disaster. So what we're planning on doing is creating these divided spaces so that when we do resin pours, we can do them in sections, and it should hopefully prevent any major disasters or at least help. So we're gonna seat these in, then we're actually gonna get some Sculpted and basically put all the sediment and silt down the bottom of the canals and give that bit of structure. So we've got something to paint and then water pour over the top of later. Let's get down to business and defeat those Huns.
Noodle. Noodle, noodle. Liquid noodle.
That was unexpectedly fortuitous. So we've had great success with this silicone, so we're going to use this to adhere it. This was really good for waterproofing. We are going to build up around this with other materials, but this is just to fasten it in. And we're gonna hide these. We're gonna hide these with like handmade wood bridges that people have thrown over the canals. I think it'll work really well.
So we are done putting in the little acrylic pieces for our resin pour, and I've just made up some filament that's gonna go inside the canals. It's kind of meant to represent some paper, there's some rocks and other bits and pieces in there. It's just general trash, really. Yeah, so we're gonna make up some sculptor mold, put that on, press this in, and leave it to dry.
I'm right with you, Referee.
So we are going to test out monster clay to make a couple of masters to make a bigger mold. Jen's gonna do the pour. Good luck. Don't ruin my mold.
Buttons on this a bit touchy.
It's very lumpy. Is it meant to be that lumpy?
Well, we'll find out.
Pour it heavily into that because that's the stem of the thing. Because it's better to overflow. All right, let's see how it turned out. Good thing with monster clay is it does not seem to stick to the silicone. Oh, but it is brittle. So I'm worried about this, the post. All right, let's have a look. The ring on the post hasn't come out properly. How do we feel about that? There's a couple of bubbles, but that's just some variance. I think that's pretty good. I think the ring on the post is like a stretch goal. You know what I mean? Like, so I'll reset this and we'll do another pour. Use clear cups for this. This is terrible. I think this is right. Who knows? Let's find out. So it now should start to go absolutely bonkers. Oh no.
How long does the plaster take to set?
That's a great question. Find out in the next episode. It's very bubbly. I'm not sure that this will actually work. It's full of air bubbles and very fragile, so it's not really for this kind of high detail casting, but we thought we'd try it because it's really cheap. And if that doesn't work, we might have to use resin. It's cheap and easy material. Does the plaster have any chance? Let's find out. I mean, already I am just have no confidence in this material. They're all broken already. And they can be glued back together. Just depends on how, see, like that's so broken. Oh, I don't think this is gonna work with plaster. I mean, they all break into, they can be glued back together. That's not so, that one's fine. It's not very durable, but this isn't really a gaming table. It seems all of them are gonna break in the same spot as well, or close to, which is interesting. But if you pop that out, oh, we lost the head. I was like, we're finally gonna have one in one piece. No, not a chance. It's not too bad. I think it might be fine. It might be fine because it's cheap and we have lots of it, and that's really important. Okay, so I wasn't really happy with how the Woodland Scenics plaster was working. It's a really good plaster, but it's more for terrain. It's lightweight and it's crumbly, and these are too fine and delicate for it. So I've actually grabbed this other plaster and I did a test pour, and I'm really happy with it. So that's what we're gonna be doing from now on. Using a different plaster and a little bit of oxide powder just to get a bit of color in there.
you can see it's making a much more resilient and slightly grey tinged as well. So if they chip or break, it reveals some grey stone as opposed to, you know, white. So these crumbly ones, not so good. These ones, pretty good. And even though there's some natural casting errors and variations, like sometimes, you know, the top is a bubble, I think for natural stone in an ancient city, that just works really well.
So with the edges all marked out, I laid down my spackle and made it nice and flat. Once I was happy, I went over the top with one of our cobblestone rollers that we have and made sure that the pattern was nice and neat. We wanted to make sure that the board was broken up nicely with the different textures we could use. This meant we wanted to create different brick patterns all along the roads. Something else I wanted to include was adding these little water grates into the walls. I thought this was really themey and could create some really cool effects later.
They do an amazing job of breaking up that wall. Well done.
Do you want to be a hero? Create yourself in Hero Forge, the sponsor of today's video.
If you don't know what Hero Forge is, it is a site where you can make your own custom miniatures. There's different types of races and you can customize them however you wish. Different hairstyles, clothing, even poses are accessible to you.
And then you can order these miniatures in physical or digital. There are multiple different ways you can get your miniature delivered to you physically and digitally exported for STL 3D printing or also for online virtual tabletop games like Roll20.
And if you're not into painting, that's okay. They have color options for you as well. And you can even get them printed in metal.
The premium in-app color system is amazing and allows you to imagine your characters and bring them to life with color before you purchase. Make your own favorite character and get a 2D acrylic standee created from them. And now their premium plastic is better than ever. It's just been updated to a brand new high resolution product. Now, while we've been talking, you've been watching some of the amazing characters I've created to fill out the scene of our game board. The limits of Hero Forge are only the limits of your imagination. So go on there, it's completely free to try out, play around and create some awesome characters. And if you fall in love with it, consider joining Hero Forge Pro, a subscription service that offers you 5 digital credits for STL downloads every month, as well as early access to beta features and a whole bunch of other goodies.
Hero Forge is community focused, so I highly recommend signing up to their newsletter. I personally get these every month and there's some really cool stuff on here. And Hero Forge is offering you guys a discount, which will be displayed right here. So jump online and get those savings.
So don't wait, go check out the link in the description. It is super fun to play around with and really these are some amazing products. And we love Hero Forge. Thank you Hero Forge, always a pleasure to make cool minis with you.
So moving on to painting up all of the objects that would go onto the board. I wanted to create this sort of painterly Renaissance feel so that everything felt cohesive once it was finally placed on. We had these really cool gondolas that I added some wood textures to, but overall just trying to keep in theme with that Renaissance idea that we had at the start. I also went ahead and painted up our awesome Hero Forge minis. I used a Murray Method underspray to make sure that these again had this painterly style.
All right, so we've painted all of the areas that we aren't touching for now, sort of a nice dark brown. That's just basically a placeholder. But what I am gonna do now is just paint all of the exposed stone a nice dark gray color. And then we'll paint over the top of it with some aerosols and then dry brushing, weathering, all the good stuff.
We then went ahead and covered the whole board in brown and PVA to protect that foam from spray paints.
No good, I can't maneuver.
Stay on target.
We're too close.
Stay on target.
Bang, big dog! Bang! Woo! Check this out. It's a trick shot.
That looks so bad from this angle.
It's just, I'm so old, my hair. Alright, let's go.
I don't know where that went, but a bit of warm. There we go. Awesome.
That process is on camera.
Yeah.
An unusual thing for
We've coloured all of our nice little Lucha Vera. Now it's time for just a little bit of dry brushing and we're gonna differentiate some of the stone. We're gonna have basically most of the stonework, the walls and everything. It's gonna be a nice bone colour, so nice Mediterranean sandstone. And then the cobblestone, we're gonna differentiate with just a little bit of grey. So that'll be more of a traditional stone. We can pick that out with some pigments later, have a nice discrepancy between the two instead of just one flat colour. Time for some dry brushing.
Dry brushing.
Murray, what have you done?
Don't worry, dropper bottles are better than Citadel pots.
We've just done all this!
What do you mean, we? I did everything.
I held the camera, Murray! I held the camera!
Listen, I sprayed the things, I made the mess, it was all me.
Dropper bottles, you gotta use the stupid little thing!
Guess what? I did 3 times.
I also did a boo-boo.
What did you do? What? I still
was it
don't
dry?
know. Oh, black. It wasn't dry. This is all going to shit, guys. But hey, guess what? There's a cute little gondola. And that's what that's going to look like in the water. Isn't that cute? Yeah, who else is cute? Me on a good day. Hey everyone. How you doing? Let's go see what I'm working on. Just kidding. That's a secret for another video. It's time to do the resin pour, the most dangerous part of the project, and I'm nervous. You all have probably seen how our last one went, but if you haven't, check out the card. Suffices to say it wasn't good. So we're a little bit nervous and hopeful that we're doing sort of like a just over ½ an inch pour with some deep pour resin. We're using Woodland Scenic's deep pour. Hopefully this will work. But the first thing we need to do is to kind of seal the edges. So we're gonna try some UV resin and plastic card and see how we go. Resin time. Now you have to mix specific quantities of this, but because I'm using the whole bottle of each, it's not a problem. But before I mix it, before I commence the poisoning, I'm gonna go put a mask on. Now I do want a little tint to the water. I'm gonna try a drop. 1 drop. I can always add more if I'm not happy. But we have a really nicely painted water bottom, so we don't want it to be too opaque. But this is also canal water, so it shouldn't be completely clear, you know? It's got to be that right balance. Slightly cloudy, slightly tinted. But you should still be able to see through it. I'm going to do 1 more drop of blue. Literally just 2 drops. So it's the next day, and like a miracle, it seems that the resin pour has basically worked. We're gonna leave that to cure, and when that's done, there's one more thing to do. We're actually gonna cover the water with a little bit of that water ripples effect from Woodland Scenics, which should get that beautiful light refraction and really make it come to life. But guess what? I don't think I'm gonna show you that. I think we're gonna go straight to the reveals.
We would love to shout out our lovely patrons. Thank you all so much. It is your support that lets us make the videos that we make. You're all amazing. And special thanks to our newest patrons, Dr. Zero,
Drazan,
Asmodai is near.
Damian Musky.
Sam Lua.
Thank you so much for watching, and remember, if you've enjoyed this content, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel for more. We're going to be building more on this board and making it hopefully the coolest board we've ever built on Tabletop Time. And as always, thank you so much to Hero Forge, the sponsor of this video. Remember to use the code Tabletop Time for 10% off your digital STLs. Links are in the description, and we do love Hero Forge, so please check them out.
If you like boards, we've got many videos about the same thing, and we'd love to see what you think about our work.
Until next time.
Bye!
Bye!